That's what I'm talking about. We on the line tonight. Yeah. It must be Friday night, huh? Check it, right? Thought brokers on the air. It gotta be Friday night. You know AC and SamIam, every take come tight. They come correct with the true crime, cut through the hype. If you ain't tapped in yet, you behind on sight. They got the news, got the facts, every angle they glean. Thought brokers breaking down true crime, coats in between. Story veterans, seasoned voices sitting the scene. They've been cooking up these cases for a hot minute clean. If there was trophies for getting lit and still going live, they sweep the whole award show, every medal, all five. Buzz brain, sharp tape, still the logic survive. They keep it honest, keep it raw, keep the madness alive. And it's not only news, it's the jokes that they choose. Words are hard, one-star strip clubs, they review the rules. Very passionate rundowns on them toys who get used. Amazon confessionals, pick a product and mute. Alex murder, OJ headlines, Gypsy Rose in the file, twin flame scammers, Menendez on the case profile. People kidnapped, hoodwinked with a digital smile, scammed and straight up whack. It's in the docket on trial. They don't matter, the fatter that the storyline stack, the better payoff in the end when they're running it back. They break it down frame by frame, every detail intact. Never slack, never clock out, they stay on the attack. Let's act. SamIam and AC. SamIam and AC, that perspective is key. Perfect duo to make you look and actually see all the bad in the world, all the rot underneath. From the killers to the monsters living right down the street. They ain't stuck on pretty phrases, they don't dance round facts. Ain't too many extra fillers when they talk on the acts. They just lay it how it is, how these villains react. Bang, bang, case closed, bodies vanish on tracks. What about coats? They got that every chapter and song. From the quiet gated suburbs to the doctrines gone wrong. When the power and obsession run insanely strong, they call it twisted out, tell you why it's been wrong. So long. Somewhere out there is a system that keeps letting it slide. Whole towns look the other way, just protecting the pride. But the brokers pull receipts, bring the truth to the light. Name the patterns that repeat when the money's in sight. Probably best in the world at exposing the scheme. So sit down, let the feed roll. Welcome into the stream. One of the best boy-girl tag teams you ever have seen. Pulling threads on every case till the motives are clean. Words are hard, yeah, Sam, but you still land tough. Hard as hell, but you spin them when the topics are rough. Might laugh at the stumbles when the phrasing is scuffed, but the insight stays sharp and the research enough. Yeah, AC, yo, where you at? Light the vibe, set the scene. Joints, blunts, gummies line, keep the stress off the screen. Beer, vodka, or some whiskey while they comb through the mean. Say it with me, pour it up, keep the conscience clean. Thought brokers, name ringing every feed that you see. SamIam and AC bring the oddities free. Thought brokers, where the thoughts and the brain waves agree. Thoughts and brain matter, that's the only real currency. Thought brokers bring the weirdest little crime to your door. From the headlines to the footnotes you ain't heard before. They entangle all the rumors, leave the truth at the core. Every Friday, different rabbit hole to fall and explore. Yeah. Thought brokers pick a platform, they already on it. From the phone in your hand to the screen where you want it. They lace a random fact, drop a gem, make you ponder upon it. Put a feather in your bonnet with the way that they flaunt it. And if you hate one-star strip club reviews they spit, then you ain't home, you off base. You ain't built for this wit, far from it. Wrong stomach for the jokes that they fit. They stay blunt, never filter, they just let that drip. Thought brokers, SamIam and AC on track. They don't censor for the comfort, they refuse to pull back. They don't always see it equal, they'll collide in the facts. But that tension be the engine keeping every show packed. Not just hanging out on Friday doing gummies and joints. They dissecting every angle, put a case in the point. Friday nights turn forensic and they sharpen the oints. Every time stamp marked up with the clues in the joints. Thought brokers, hit the follow, like and share what you find. Drop a comment, hit subscribe, keep them front of your mind. Yo, SamIam, AC, let the storyline climb. Grip that mic, y'all. Thought brokers on time. Thought brokers on time. SamIam, AC, keep the truth in the rhyme. Friday night, tune in, let it sharpen your mind. Thought brokers sign off. Till the next deep dive. Grind. It right. Yo, turn the microphone up. Yeah,
There we go. How about that? First time for everything.
All right, sorry about that.
What? The fact that that's at last week's thing.
Huh?
The fact that that's at last week's thing, last week's show.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Yeah.
My fault.
Oh, It's all good.
I thought I had all of it. I thought I had all of it.
You had it. You got this, girl. You are camping. That's what it is.
I am.
So you're a
I
camper.
am from the campground.
Live and direct.
We already have a couple of messages. My sister says, "Hi, besties." And then Rocksteady, all the way from across the world, says, "What's up, guys? Good to see yous. We miss you, Rock."
To see you, Rock. Miss you to death, man.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So it's gonna be a fun episode tonight.
It is. Do you have the graphic for the wrongfully accused? I just want to flash that real quick.
Hold please.
Not all
somewheres.
It's in Telegram. But
no, I have it. I saved it to my computer and I put it as the thumbnail.
Awesome. Yeah.
So
you can just
let me
want to put that into stream and flash it. That way we can introduce the show a little bit, and then we can tell them, and I'll talk about the chat while you do that.
Hold please.
There it is.
It's not gonna work.
Oh, almost.
That's not it.
You're from that.
Can I change it on the fly?
You can.
I can.
Jamie, I'm from my house. Live from my house. Phenomenal. I'm live from my house as well. I'm pretty sometimes. You're pretty all the time. That's bullshit. Are you fishing for compliments?
Is.
She's fishing. I think so. I think you're pretty. I think you're pretty. I do. And
it should change if my computer's working correctly. It may not. I literally just. I apologize. I can't at this moment. But we are doing wrongfully accused. There we go. AC.
Where'd I go? There I am. Cool.
Oh,
no problem.
There you are. Sorry.
So tonight's.
I must have fucked it up.
Tonight's show is number 7. We're doing the wrongfully accused. We'll flash that banner a little bit later, but yeah, we're doing. It's a thumbnail on YouTube, and we are doing a really awesome show that I waited for Sam, my partner, to do, because it's one of the most fascinating things that there is in criminal justice, and we do true crime. We do cults and true crime. That's our bread and butter. But we never talked about the people, those poor people that are in jail right now. That are, that just somebody had to go to jail. We've talked about it several times. Somebody had to go to jail, and it's like, well, it's gonna have to be you, bud. Unfortunately. But yeah. So let's get. You ready to go? You want to get right into it? You want to small talk? You want to take a sip of water? You ready to do this shit? Let's take a sip
I do have water. Yeah. Let's do that.
I also like to wait for people to trickle in. It's good to see y'all. How many people?
Yeah.
Okay.
We got like 3. So that's good.
Couple on Kick. Hey. Yeah. Hey, Kick. First time we do this. Let me send the blast out, and then we're gonna be good. Let's blast. Yeah. So we're gonna go. Hey, podcast me, bitch. Podcast me. Podcast me, bitch. I hope everybody's doing good. Did anybody catch episode 6 when I was all by my lonesome? You guys should come by.
I did. Had a lot going on that weekend. Dave and I were DJing a wedding. We had the rehearsal and all the things the night that you did the show. So I couldn't be on, unfortunately. I hate to have to miss.
It was good for my ego. It was good for I could do it. I was like, could I do this?
Absolutely. You can do this. You've done your own shows before, by yourself. But it sucks. It's tough though. So my husband, I am Dave, says, "Holy F, what the fuck is Rocksteady doing here?" Well,
being Australian,
being
all pursy. It's pretty pursy. Hey, with Dave, what's up, man? I heard you got the party goblin last night inside of you. The party goblin. Let's check the chat real quick.
Oh, Dave says.
Looks like we had a blue.
Yeah. Dave said, "No, I don't watch the show unless it's on here." So.
Of course. that makes a lot of sense. And you're with your wife at the time, so like this is impossible. It would be ironic if you were like watching it on your watch or something, or like listening to it, like shut up, AC's on.
Right.
Shut up, you. So, all right. So tonight, like I said, 2-hour show tonight on the core premise of this, which is the wrongfully accused. So, like I said, number 7, convicted by the story. When the system chooses a suspect before it finds the truth. And that's a chilling statement, right? This episode is not just about innocent people going to jail. It's about the moment a person stops being treated like a person and becomes the answer to everyone that they want to be true, right? They want somebody to go down. And we talked about people who are, justice comes to the rich faster because somebody's got to pay quick, right? So it depends on social status, right? And then, so that's really when it's like the erasure of the person, right? And it's like, look, we need somebody to go down. It's going to be you. I'm sorry. You know, like underneath the bravado. And then what happens when public police, prosecutors, media, and even viewers become addicted to certainty before the truth even arrives. So I'll give you this one. So in 2024, 147 people were exonerated in the U.S. after losing an average of 13.5 years to wrongful imprisonment. Think about that. 147 people were exonerated in 1 year after losing almost 14 years of their life. The National Registry Exonerations also reported that the exonerees lost a combined 1,980 years of life in one prison year. So exponentially, let's say a guy goes to prison for 40 years, 45 years, wrongfully.
Right.
We're talking about thousands of years combined of lost life and erasure, you know? It's insane.
It's sad, actually. It is sad.
Are we? Did you turn something back on at home? Turn something back on at home? You have like a...
No, it's raining. It's raining outside. So I'm in a camper, folks.
Okay. Yeah, you did. Yeah. I was just wondering if you were drying your shoes.
And when it rains, it pours. I turned off the air conditioning so we could have a better sound quality. And then the heavens opened up and it's pouring outside. So I apologize for that. I've got my AirPods to help with it a little bit, but
this should be apologizing is God. God should be apologizing.
Right. Right. The heavens have opened up. So
yeah. So let me open this up by saying, and thank you for allowing me to open that up. But let me start with my talking points and then move on to yours.
Absolutely.
So tonight we're talking about wrongfully accused, and it's one of my most coveted topics. So, but it's not like a legal footnote. It's like not like a sad ending to a Netflix documentary like we've been seeing, right? We're talking about the machine that takes a human being, flattens them into a suspect, and then dares them to prove that they exist. How about that? Like, that's the best way I can put it. I dare you to defy us and say, like, we're wrong, right? The prosecutors, the judge, the police, when they all work in cahoots. In our last podcast, Roses Are Red, we used to talk about that all the time ad nauseum. Like, okay, what if the whole system is corrupt and right behind you? What are you going to do? You can't move districts. You can't get you're not exactly have the money to get like anything other than a public defender who's also in on the take, right? So we're going to talk about, let's frame the episode really quick so you guys can understand the structure. True crime usually starts with with the question, who did it, right? Tonight's question is darker. What if the system already decided? A wrongful accusation does not begin at conviction. It begins at the doubt of when doubt becomes inconvenient. So when you have doubt and it's too much like, I don't know what's going on, you better know what's going on. That's when it really becomes scary. Once a person becomes the guy or the gal, everything after that is bent towards proving it. So that's it. If you're the person, if you fit the description, it's a lot easier. Like the guy in the 80s who Tanzian, whatever his name was. Remember that guy we covered? The guy in 1986, and he's I was 400 miles away. Sorry.
Right.
How did I get there? And they said time travel, and you're like, time travel? That was like something that they actually used. Yeah, it's a thing.
I know.
It's a thing. So yeah, it's so after that, basically you're just proving yourself. You know, you're already proven guilty. It's the opposite of what America stands for, really.
And really, I mean, the public likes clean stories. You know, victim, villain, evidence, justice.
Done.
That's, I mean, done. But real cases are actually messier. People confuse confidence with truth. Police press conferences can become public verdicts. Media can turn suspicion into identity. I mean, and then the accused person's name becomes permanently attached with the crime, even if they are later cleared. I mean, how many times have we said on this show that, you know, he just has this look or whatever. I just know. Yeah. Well, no, that's one that kind of proves us that we were all like, no, I think she didn't do it. So, I mean, all of these things come into play. So just a quick question. How many people have we, again, like Karen Reed, have we judged because the story sounded finished? You know, we know that, right. It's always in the eyes, right? I mean,
I guess and you're not allowed to have beady eyes, because if you're born with beady eyes, man, you're guilty as shit. You know,
I do think sometimes the eyes have it.
Sure.
But, you know, and somebody's going to accuse murder, you know, or whatever crime it may be. Why wrongful accusations happen? You know, there are some. Here's kind of what where we get into these wrongful accusations. Eyewitness misidentification.
Do that again. You broke up there for a second. Can you repeat yourself?
Confessions.
I need some light. All right. So, all right. You finish that section. Perfect. So that was the joint question, wasn't it? So basically, it was like how many people we thought that we already, like. I mean, everyday life. It doesn't have to be like courtroom stuff. Oh, you're seized up. Okay. All right. We'll wait till she comes back. So basically, that's the question to everybody, right? So the question is, how many people have we already indicted before we even look at all the evidence? It's just like, I don't know. I don't like the guy who cut his jib, you know? So through, oh, there she goes. So through the failure of the, you know, the true crime lens is basically it. So true crime audiences often say, like, I knew something was off. Like, I knew that guy didn't look good to me. You know, he's a weirdo, right? I knew something was going on with that guy. But the danger is we usually say that after the documentary tells us what to think. So it's not like we made our own opinions about that. We kind of, it formulated it for us. So how powerful is Netflix or Hulu and those documentaries? Because one exonerates Alex Murdaugh. One completely reframes it. It's horrible, right? So what's the deal? Like, what is really going on there? And we just won't know. Now there's the whole retrial and the whole thing, because there's missing evidence. Now, when we watch a case unfold live, you know, like one of those, like, I don't know, Lacey Peterson, things like that, we're vulnerable to the same mistakes that any investigator is, which is like, you know, we look like them too. Suspicious behavior, awkward interviews, lack of emotion, too much emotion, bad body language, like Gypsy Rose. I just get a weird feeling, you know. We used to get that a lot in the last podcast. Weird feeling, you know, beady eyes. I don't know, something off about that guy. But we run the risk of being typecasting these people. These people might not be as guilty as we think, just because we want them to, right? So here's my question to you, just like that question that Sam posed to everybody. Vibes are not evidence, number one. So that's a statement, right? Vibes are not evidence. But vibes are sometimes very much powerful because they're real. So sometimes the most dangerous person in the room is not the one who feels certain. Let me say it again. Vibes are not evidence, and sometimes the most dangerous person in the room is not the one who feels certain. So that person wields all the power. That person is not certain. He doesn't have all the information, basically going off emotion. If that person, for example, doesn't feel like they like the cut of your jib, that might be a really bad day for you. And that person has access to the judge. That person has access to long sentences, a way to upheave your, what if you're the patriarch of your family? You're gone, when the heavy crime bill was going on in California, when, you had you can go to jail for a dime bag of weed, for, oh my God, for nothing. They destroy so many people's families, right? Because if they decide that you're the guy, you're the guy. So let's wait for Miss, see, Sam? Okay, sure. She's trying to reset. The storm's pretty bad. No problem. So the Exonerated Five. So here's the setup for this story, right? The setup is the Exonerated Five were teenagers who were wrongfully convicted in 1989, which is like the Central Park jogger case. You might have heard of it from our dear president, from many other people, and maybe from Obama. The Central Park Five, right? They were later exonerated for pretty much confessing that another man's DNA was supported in finding that they were going to be exonerated. Although the damage had been really done, if you think about it. Hey, what's going on? H, how are you? We're live on Kick as well. What's going on? So, partners coming back. We're talking about true crime. If you see the pinned comment there, stockbrokers number 7, wrongfully accused. So, talking about the Central Park Five. So they were later exonerated. Another man confessed, and the DNA evidence supported that confession. The Innocence Project, which is people who dedicate their lives to be able to bring people out of that and jail and being quite institutionalized, which is, you can imagine, is disruptive to the people who got justice. They know that they were freed in 2002 and later reached a $41 million settlement with New York City. So New York City had to pay them $41 million to lose 3 years of their life between the five. That's a significant amount of money, and that's definitely admitting that you messed up. The city did mess up. Who's that fall on? Taxpayers? Do you think that's fair? How much of your tax dollars go to exonerating people that were wrongfully accused? We'll never know. I guess we can get pretty close. But if you think about it, $41 million for between five. I guess I could do some math. I don't know. Would you give up 3 years of your life for a fifth of $41 million? Maybe. I'd have to think about it. Is it tax free? So the focus on the media for Enzi was insane, right? So they were children, number one, which is nuts to think that they would have to be. Let me fix the screen over here on YouTube. It's nuts that they would have to be shown as children on, and they're getting totally, smeared all over the news. So let's bring up this. Bring up the Central Park Five, and we'll talk about a little bit about more in depth, and we'll share a screen so we can see it. Out of Central Park Five, and then we'll look at people.com. So this is, if you guys want to see us, we're on YouTube. You can totally see that. People on Kick, just look for the Married Couple podcast, and you should see us live. It's a black and white logo. We should be moving to our own channel as soon as we get 50 subscribers, but we're so new. Allow screen share, perfect. Then we're going to screen share this. Okay. speech here. All right, what's going on? Okay, beautiful. Can't share the screen. This. What's happening here? Oh, dear sweet Apple. Fuck you. What's up, guys? Let's check the chat. No, I don't want you here. Why does it say it's good to see you? Good to see you. Good to see you. So we're gonna go here. Now we're gonna do this one. Yep. So we're gonna do a captcha. You really got me doing a captcha right now? Fuck out of here. So you guys probably see this. I hope so. What's going on here? Why doesn't it let me do that? Okay. Camera access not. What the fuck? All right, so let's talk about it. I don't know what's going on here. So I don't have all the permissions that Sam has. So the night of April 19th, 1989 should have been like any other night, but Black and Hispanic teens, 5 of them, originated from one of the most, diverse parts of New York City, but it was also one of the most miscarried pieces of justice of all times. Hey, Jet, what's going on? Thank you for joining. So that American history, that part of Americana is a stain because that is one of the most egregious things we've ever done. That evening at 9 p.m., roughly 30 teenage boys entered New York City's Central Park, causing a ruckus and allegedly assaulting and intimidating parkgoers. Nearby, a young white woman jogging through the park was hit over the head, dragged nearly 300 feet from the roadway, beaten unconscious, and sexually assaulted. When these people discovered Trisha Melly at 1:30 a.m. the following day, she was barely alive and she had lost approximately 80% of her blood. So imagine this. What's going on? Absinthian. I love it. How you doing? We're doing our podcast here. My partner will join back in a second. So we're talking about the Central Park 5 and Wrongly Accused. We do this every Friday night at 7 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern. Join us on YouTube as well. You can also join our Telegram channel at Thought Brokers. You can do that right now. It's free, and you can check us out. So she was barely alive. She lost 80% of her blood, and 14-year-olds Raymond Santana and Kevin Richardson, 15, and Anton McCrae and Yusef Salam, and 16-year-old Corey Wise were all among the boys taken into custody for Melly's attack. After hours of interrogation, the Central Park precinct, the boys, under duress, confessed to assaulting her. However, they recanted their admission, stating they only confessed under the premise that they can go home afterwards. So that basically what they said was, do you want to go home? Yeah. Okay. Well, they lied, right? So in America, you can't lie and entrap people like that, right? It doesn't matter how old they are. You cannot entrap people to say, okay, I'll do this, and transactionally you'll get that. Or you can't lie to them either. You can't say, we have evidence, and then make them, right, under duress, say something. One of those was like How to Make a Murder. Right? So if anybody saw How to Make a Murder on Netflix, they know what it's like to coerce someone into saying, you did it, right? You did it, right? You did it, right? I mean, these are long sessions in a box with like cold coffee and this guy like screaming in your face, like, come on, I know you did it. And that, imagine being 14 years old getting that. So from April 27th to the 28th, 1989, all 5 teens were indicted on counts including grape, assault, attempted murder, rioting. Wise, being 16 years old, was charged against adults 16 and sent to Rikers Island Prison in New York City. And the remaining 4 were taken into juvenile facilities. So Wise, poor guy, was the oldest one, and he got the shittiest end of the stick. He wasn't even of age, but they treated him like they were almost like they were dying for him to be of age so they could just show him. Like, we need that. We need this. We need someone's got to pay because this woman was white, and we need for them, for the almost like, I hate to say it, but we need for the color kids to play, to pay. We have to. It just makes sense, and it's horrific if you think about it, and it's so bold. It's so bold and so ridiculous. That why would you allow that to happen? Like, why is justice of anyone better than justice of, like, we're still looking, right? Why? Because the cops need to look competent, right? And they need, above all else, to think I sound better now. Okay. So above all else, somebody needs to take the fall for this, right? So, uh, as it were, the Central Park Five, as the media dubbed them, maintained their innocence since the entire time, since that fateful night, and each of them served 13 years in prison until 2002. So we're talking about, I'm sorry, I said earlier 3 years. It's 13 years in prison. I don't know why I said that. I think I corrected myself. 13 years in prison from 89 to 2002. DNA evidence set them free. So now calling themselves the Exonerated Five because they're desperately trying to change how people look at them, right? What's going on here? What's the verses? Oh, I can't do that. I can't do a verses right now because I'm doing come to the channel. I can't do a verses and do this. The Exonerated Five in October 2024, the men were filed a defamation lawsuit against President Trump, former then, but former and future president. That's weird to think about. After a presidential campaign rally that they had all pled guilty that Melly had died during the attack. So let's say that again. So the Exonerated Five in 2024, the men filed a defamation lawsuit against former president and future president Donald Trump after he falsely claimed at a presidential campaign rally that they all had pled guilty and that the lady had died during the attack, which is kind of, you can just look that up. She's not dead. According to NBC News, the suit claimed that the men had suffered injuries as a result of defendant Trump's false and defamatory statements, and have asked for a trial to determine damages that they may be owed. Believe it or not sure if that's something that you want to go down that thing, but he definitely said those things. I remember him talking about the Central Park Five, and it was not in a pretty light, right? So, Salam, when he was 14 years old, the jurors found him guilty of grape, assault, robbery, and riot in connection with the assault of 28-year-old investment banker. Sorry about this. 1 second. So Salam was part of the Central Park Five, and that's where. Okay, so this is the end of that, right? So Salam being part of the Central Park Five, right? He's a part of 2 other incidents, which makes it look really bad for them because they were all exonerated, but they were exonerated for that. You have to look at instances in America of specific things, right? There can't be double jeopardy. You can't just say, oh, he's a bad guy, just toss it, put him away forever. You could. I mean, it's kind of ignorant, right? You don't know what people are going to do. However, no problem, Sammy. And then, so Salam served nearly 7 years in an upstate juvenile detention center for Melly, the Central Park lady, right? But again, looking at maybe that set him off. Who knows? In connection with the 28-year-old investment banker Trisha Melly, but then also 2 male joggers. Salam nearly served 7 years, and then in October 2016, editorial published the Washington Post. Salam said the police officers interrogated and deprived him and his 4 co-defendants of food, drink, sleep, and more than 24 hours. I don't know if anybody saw the movie Sleepers. It's like, wow, what are we doing? The married father continues to speak about his ordeal. In 2016, Salam received a Lifetime Achievement Award from President Barack Obama. His memoir, Better Not Bitter, Living in a Purpose in Pursuit of Racial Justice. So he turned into a racial justice warrior, which makes a lot of sense. At this point, you are, hey, Sam. And then at this point, you are,
hey,
you're trying to fight for your life, but you're also trying to, at the same time, cleanse your name, right? So we're just finishing up the story of the Central Park Five. And then, so Barack Obama, in his memoir, Better Not Bitter, this is Salam's memoir, right, was published in 2021, and he calls for prison reform, which makes a lot of sense because, I mean, it's not so much prison reform as like prejudice reform, as like, don't bury me under the fucking prison if you don't know the whole truth of reform, right? And that's the most basic of things. Salam was elected to represent Harlem on the New York City Council in 2023, assuming January 1st, 2024. So for 2 years, my man has also served on the city council. So not only did he exonerate a bunch of stuff, the former and future president shat on him, he had to cleanse his name through activism. Now he transcended all of that, and he's on the city council of New York and Harlem, which is quite a redemption arc if you say yourself, that's pretty cool. And I would share the screen if I could. Let's see if I can do it now, because I don't know if I can do that without you.
I'm here. Am I here?
You're here. Yeah, you're here.
Okay. I
Share the fucking
apologize.
entire screen. No, it's all good. You can't control the weather, storm. You're all good. Let me try to figure out how, because I'm on my Mac. Allow share window. Okay. And then I'll share this window. I didn't do it before. Do you have to accept it? Is that why?
I think it's knowing me that I can at this moment. Because it's
You got to make me
fucked up again.
You got to make me a higher. You got to make me a higher level person than this. Okay, so yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I mean, that's the story of Central Park 5. It's okay. Story of Central Park 5.
Okay, I got it.
And they were all. Oh, sweet. Okay, so they were all acquitted.
I think it worked.
Yeah, it's tiny over there. I hate to say this, I miss StreamYard.
Hold on. I know. I apologize. There we go.
It's all good.
I think we should be okay on that.
It's a little small, but it's okay. So, yeah, so that's it. The next part is going to be you, Sam. If you can.
I really don't know where we're at.
It's okay. Yeah. So we're going to be at so number 2, right? So this is the sense that you're going to be at case number 2, which is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep, I got it. So our case number 2, Walter McMillian, Walter McMillian was convicted and sentenced to death in Alabama for the murder of a young white woman. So he was held on death row before even trial began. His trial lasted only a day and a half, and multiple Black alibi witnesses testified that he was in church at a fish fry when the crime occurred.
So this guy was at a fish fry. Is there any other scene you can make this a little bit bigger?
Let's see.
Just a touch. There we go. Even if we're not in the picture for a second.
There we
cool.
go.
That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the gentleman Walter McMillian serving a sentence there. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I think you're next on that. So what had happened with this is he was sentenced to death in Alabama for the murder of a young white woman. Again, held on death row well before his trial. And his trial only lasted a day and a half, and multiple witnesses who were at this fish fry said he was there when the crime occurred.
Okay, gotcha.
So go ahead.
No, I was gonna agree with you, and then probably read a little bit about this article. But the question really,
yes, please.
Yeah. So the question here is like, so let's say that a community is grieving, right? So does the justice system really become more dangerous if everybody's like sad, if everybody's like really going through it? Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Kick. How are you? Thanks for joining. Does it become more dangerous if a mob mentality of people who are grieving at once? Is that more dangerous? Because that is going to bring upon a lot of irrationality, right? Have you guys seen that? Is that something that you've seen before? What can you equate that to? Let us know if you can.
Yes.
So yeah, it's basically it's momentum, right? So you imagine momentum, right? So it's not evidence. It's just like, we got to go. Mm-hmm. We got to get it. We got to get somebody, what I was named before. And momentum is a lot more dangerous than evidence. Bring on the evidence if I have to do it, please. But what if there's no evidence to even allow you? So in this
right.
article, and
McMillian. in this case,
Gone again. Oh Lord. So, the campground in the summertime might be it might be sketch, but anyway, that's fine. We're gonna wait for you, and we'll do it every time. So Walter McMillian, there she is. In 1986, so an 18-year-old white woman named Rhonda Morrison was murdered in downtown Monroeville, Alabama, which is a rough place already if you think about the history of Alabama. And you know, it's a small community. Police could not solve the crime. After 6 months with no leads or suspects, their attention focused on Walter McMillian. Mr. McMillian was an unlikely suspect because he had no prior criminal history, and he was 45 years old. He's employed. He's a logger who has done work for many, many people around the neighborhood and the community. So, what seemed to bring his attention, like the cops' attention, he had an affair with a married white woman. So, the only thing he did wrong in his world, it wasn't even wrong or illegal, because he had an affair with a white woman. Okay, this sounds a lot like Emmett Till. I just, I flirted with, I said, "You're pretty" to a white woman, and that's it. And the next day, he's hanging from a tree. You know what I mean? And then his crime, liking, a little bit of, he's down with the swirl. He's down with some vanilla, and yeah, that's it. So, a white man accused him of crimes in another county and was pressured by police and ultimately made false statements accusing Mr. McMillian of murdering Miss Morrison. This set off a chain of events that changed Mr. McMillian's life completely and forever, because he was arrested by Monroe County, and the sheriff, Tom Tate, he'd eventually charged him with capital murder. So imagine, he is picked up in another county because a white guy was jealous or whatever, and he made up some shit, and the guy was pressured, of course, because there needs to be justice for white people, especially in Alabama. And what are the chances, right? They're pretty good. So, I mean, even people who are gainfully employed in Alabama, who do community service, people know him, they're still willing to throw him on their bus, period, because somebody has to pay. And it's much more, it's just more glamorous and more clean if you just do it here. Just do it here, just do it. Whoever goes, just throw away the key. So Mr. McMillian and his family were 11 miles away from dry cleaning store where Mrs. McMillian was murdered at the time of the crime. So there were dozens of black people who could testify for this, to his innocence, but they were all ignored. The most fucked up shit ever. The nearly all-white jury convicted Mr. McMillian of capital murder and sentenced him to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, because he was 11 miles away. He had an alibi. A ton of black folks could say absolutely he was there and corroborate that, but the capital sin of being with a white woman is the thing that brought you down. Once that was unrelated to this. See where I'm going with this? So in Alabama, elected trial judge were authorized to override a jury's life verdict and impose a death penalty. Excuse me. On top of it, the sheer indignation was like, no, that's not enough. Excuse me. That's not enough. In Alabama, they were like, fuck it, bring him back, drag him through the mud, put him on the news again, and you're going to give him the death penalty. Judge Robert E. Lee Key, okay, does it get any better than that? Overrode the jury's sentence.
No.
Right. So we took him to General Robert E. Lee, who's a famous racist, and the jury sentence of life imprisonment was overturned, and now he got death by electrocution. So Mr. McMillian was sent back to his jail cell on death row, where he ultimately spent 6 years because he didn't do anything. And now, could you imagine your mental state? So this is the real question, right? Like, okay, everybody's gone crazy in this town because, look, everybody wants you to be jailed. Somebody needs to go down, but it's not clean. It's not happening fast enough. Who do you get? Let's get somebody, because the police look incompetent, right? So again, I asked a question earlier. When a community is grieving, does the justice system become more dangerous? Yes, it does. It absolutely does. Everyone grieving together is a collective, because you have a small community. Now you're fucked, right? Like, now everyone's looking at somebody, and you're the guy.
Well, and I mean, in this whole case, I mean, the social structure is key, right? race matters in every aspect. Geography matters. Local politics matter. Not only does the accused man's race matter, but the victim's race matters. And then the community wanted closure, and that mattered. So, and the court's reputation mattered. So they needed this to be buttoned up tight, even with the facts actually not really pointing to him. He had an alibi.
Can I add the cops' competency too? Like the cops need to be like
Absolutely.
competent. So you can call them next week, so they can steal more of your tax money. So all of that.
Exactly.
You know how I feel. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I do, and I feel the same way. No, I mean all of that came into play with this case, and that's and it's sad because had they taken a little bit more time, they could have figured it out a little bit better.
No question. And it's disgusting, really. It really is gross. And it's like a matter of it's a matter of dignity for these people, but also they become institutionalized. You know what I'm saying? Like they're no longer a part of society. What you're trying to fight against, you're making it worse, in essence, right? So
absolutely. I mean, you take this innocent man and you put him in the penal system. You put him on death row before he's even tried, and then he has to spend time there. And it turns out that, he did nothing. But what happens when he comes out? Now all he knows is the penal system. Now all he knows is death row. It's just sad.
Hey Dina, welcome to the stream. How are you? I know it's weird. I'm usually playing music here, but I have a podcast on Friday nights and we talk about true crime.
Yeah,
and all you true crime heads, I play music. Cross pollination. So
it's so good too.
So good. So good.
So good.
That's really nice of you to say. So
no, I believe
the next person, if you allow me, is going to be thank you.
Hopefully it happens okay and quickly. There we go.
That was good. That was really good. Yeah. So the next person we're going to talk about is we have so many cases, which is sad that there are so many cases of this.
It is.
So many windows open.
So really, next we have Anthony Ray Hinton. He did spend 30 years on Alabama's death row for crimes he did not commit. The case was based on the claim that a revolver from his mother's home was used in the crimes, and he was later exonerated. So time is as violence. So 30 years is not a mistake, right? He served 30 years on death row for something he didn't do. 30 years is literally a lifetime. I mean, depending on when you go in, I mean, when you come out, you really don't have much left. The state did not just take his freedom. It took his birthdays, holidays, relationships, sleep, peace, and ordinary life. Death row really means waking up every day inside a scheduled threat. So, I mean, why don't you go ahead and talk about kind of what this case was before we kind of go any further.
I'm trying to.
No, you're good.
So, Anthony Hinton. Let's go back to him. Anthony Ray Hinton. So, back up here because I had to reopen that. Sweet. So, Anthony Ray. There we go. So, the setup on this guy is that he spent, like I said, it's 30 years, but his wrongful conviction, I mean, it's just horrific because bad forensic claims can sound like a scientific to juries. Juries don't know the real thing, right? It's you and me. We're going to jury duty, and anybody who sounds confident or sounds like you might have some cachet. Maybe you're the what do you call it? The county coroner, or maybe you're the forensic pathologist of that place, of the little parish you're from. Big deal, right? But you sound like a big fucking guy, right? So anything you say is going to sound like pretty good, enough to convict someone that somebody wants to see fry. So if an expert says it's confidently enough, anyone will believe it, especially folks that are not used to being in that situation. Jurors often do not know where science ends up and the performance begins. So even if it's half truths, no one knows, as you and I, laymen, that, I don't know, a plumber, an
Right.
electrician, whatever. We don't know the idiosyncrasies of people and how they lie and body language and all that kind of stuff. So it sounds good. Where does the performance begin? Forensics can become theater if not tested properly. So forensics can absolutely be manipulated. It can be talked about in different ways. Just light can be shown on different parts of it, and it sounds legit. So I ask you, how much weight do we put on experts simply just because they sound like experts? Let me ask that again. An expert, like, you ever seen Dr. Michael Baden on HBO?
Yeah.
The Autopsy, remember? So
Yes.
and he was
Love
back
that
in the
show.
news recently. Yeah, I used to love that show. Like Dr.
Yes.
Michael Baden, right?
Right.
Forensic pathologist. He's like, he made him to be Superman. He's like, hello. And, I thought he was a badass. Everybody's flawed, right? So how much stock did we put in Dr. Michael Baden when we saw that thing? That's just produced by people. They don't know the truth, right? It sounds good and they're going to go with it. And in doing so, there's people who fall by the wayside because this is fucked up. Like, you don't know everything, and it sounds really good if Dr. Michael Baden says it. So that's the question that I put to you. So let's talk about.
I think anytime that somebody is posed as an expert, then we do put a lot of weight into that, even though sometimes they're not all that much of an expert. You know what I mean?
But
and
we fall for it.
You're right. And the layperson, sitting on a jury of their peers, isn't going to really, they don't have the wherewithal, or it can't, go, well, let me see this guy's credentials. Let me see,
why would Johnny Everyman think that he was lying? You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't have the information to even put that together.
And does he have any to lie? Is he being paid by one side or the other? The defense can bring in, the prosecution, because we're talking about wrongly confused or accused, not confused. The prosecution can bring in an expert on whatever subject matter it is, and the jury is going to think, well, they have the best interest, even though they're just trying to get a conviction. So
right. Maybe it's not even
that's how I feel about that.
Yeah, maybe it's not even a matter of money. Maybe it's a matter of pressure. Hey, say the right thing. The boys in blue need this. Okay.
Exactly.
So again, let's go back to Alabama, right? So Anthony Ray Hinton walked out of the Jefferson County Jail in Birmingham, Alabama, a free man for the first time in 30 years at 9:30 a.m. on Friday, April 3rd, 2015. Quote, "The sun does shine," he says, and he was embraced by family and friends. The sun does shine. You haven't seen it, but behind a cage. But yeah, it does shine. And that's the sad part. It continues to shine without you. Mere people, your peers pretty much put you in a cage. And it goes on to say, one of the longest serving death row prisoners in Alabama history, and among the longest serving condemned prisoners to be freed after presenting evidence of innocence, Mr. Hinton was the 152nd person exonerated from death row since 1983.
Wow.
Yeah. That is the fattest reign I've ever heard. 30 years ago, Mr. Hinton was arrested and charged with 2 capital murders based solely on the assertion that a revolver taken from his mother's home was the gun used on both murders. Oh, okay. That's good. Home was used in both murders and on a third uncharged crime. Let me say that again so you guys can understand. So he was arrested and charged with 2 capital murders based solely on the assertion that a revolver taken from his mother's home was a gun used on both murders, and then the third murder that's uncharged. Okay, what does it have to do with anything, right? So Brian Stevenson says, I quote, "Race, poverty, inadequate legal assistance, and prosecutorial indifference to innocence conspire to create a textbook example of injustice. As a textbook example of injustice. I can't think of a case that more urgently dramatizes the need for reform than what has happened to Anthony Ray Hinton. He's the poster child for wrongly convicted, right? He is the poster child. You see this man, his face, if you're on YouTube, you'll be able to see that, or other places. Guys on Kick, I'm sorry, you might want to join us on YouTube. We're at the Married Couple Podcast for now until we get our show, our YouTube channel. So this is the guy. If you look up wrongly convicted, you're going to see this dude because he served the longest one in Alabama. So attorneys engaged 3 of the nation's top firearm examiners who testified in 2002. The revolver cannot be matched to the crime evidence. State and the people who prosecute are like gnashing their teeth because they're taking away their work. They're erasing away their work. So imagine being on the other side of that. Maybe you're just trying to do a good job, and you see that these people are trying to take you. Like, no, dude, that guy totally did it. Even if the evidence was presented to you on the other way, it wouldn't matter because it's still your work they're trying to erase. You see the problem? So after more than 12 years, excuse me, state prosecutors never questioned the new findings, but nonetheless refused to re-examine the case and concede error. They just can't. It's an ego thing. It's a pride thing. It's a work thing. They're going to think you suck in the future. You're going to get fired. You're going to get replaced. It's obvious to think that. So after more than 12 years of litigation, and the U.S. Supreme Court reversed the lower courts, and the new trial was granted. The judge finally dismissed the charges after prosecutors said that the scientists in Alabama Department of Forensic Sciences tested the evidence and confirmed that the crime bullets cannot match the one that Hinton used or allegedly used. Okay, and you guys on YouTube are seeing this. You're kind of seeing like what he looked like going in, as well as what he looked like years later. This man is institutionalized. What comes out of here, and I'm pointing at him, his family, and finally when he's free after 30 years, this man is ruined essentially. Hey guys, thanks for coming in on Kick. Appreciate you. We're talking about wrongfully accused. So we're talking about after 30 years of a crime, Mr. Hinton's release was bittersweet because, quote, "We are thrilled that Mr. Hinton is finally be able to release and out of his unnecessarily spent years in Alabama death row when the evidence of his innocence was clearly presented," said his attorney, Brian Stevenson. "The refusal of state prosecutors to re-examine this case despite persuasive and reliable evidence of innocence is disappointing and troubling," which means nobody gives a shit. Let me translate that for you. Nobody gives a shit. The shit was done. Thank you, Sam. The shit was done, and that's it. Once they believe that once the work is done, it can never be examined again because you're taking away somebody's life work. You're saying that the cops didn't do a right job, the prosecutors didn't do the right job. So, did you want to go on a little bit more about him?
No, I mean, it's just sad. I mean,
his pictures are amazingly sad.
In the home, I mean, how can they just say, "Oh, his mom had the
right"?
Yeah.
Yep.
There's multiple people
exactly.
that can. I don't know if you can, but there's access.
I think this is worth mentioning, Sam. So Anthony Hinton had no history of violent crime, steadfastly maintained his innocence the entire time. A polygraph given by the police exonerated him, but the judge, now retired circuit judge James Garrett, refused to admit it in the trial. Why? Why is a polygraph that he passed not available to go to the trial? He appointed a lawyer who mistakenly thought that he could not get enough money to hire a qualified firearms examiner. Instead, he retained a visually impaired civil engineer with no expertise in firearms identification who admitted he could not operate machinery necessary to examine the evidence. The guy said, "I cannot operate the machinery that examines the evidence," and they were like, "You're the guy." What? Why? Why was he the guy? This is obviously a head job, right? So his appointed lawyer, right, was it's insane. So with no credible expert to challenge the state assertion of a match to Mr. Hinton, he was convicted and sentenced to death to spend 30 years on death row because they just wouldn't hire the right guy to look at the machinery because that guy that they would hire was able to work the machinery. The guy that they got said, "I can't look at the evidence," and they were like, "Perfect." That's the guy we want. What does that tell you? The state's evidence of a match was wholly discredited by 3 highly qualified firearms examiners, including the former chief of the FBI's Firearm and Tool Marks Unit, who testified in 2002 that the bullets from all 3 crimes could not be matched to a single gun at all, much less Mr. Hinton's. So not only that, no bullets. Like it can't be matched at all. It's like so egregious. This man must feel like the whole world came down upon him. 30 years, took away his life. I hope he gets something in return, and maybe they just close up. For more than 15 years, attorneys repeatedly asked the state officials to re-examine the evidence in this case, but former Jefferson County District Attorney David Barber and Attorney General Troy King and Luther Strange all failed to do so. So they not only that, they blocked it, they blocked the shit out of him for 15 years, which was when I guess he can appeal, right? And his first days of freedom were crazy. Let's see if we get a little bit more media coverage here. So, I mean, I'm going into it a little bit more because obviously it's one of the most egregious cases, right? So let's take a look at NBC News, for example. We can take a look at that. Let's make sure we're seeing that. Good. Okay, once that starts, we can definitely look at that. So, 59 years old, going in as a 29-year-old man. The man wiped away his tears. He lamented about the painstaking fight to clear his name. Imagine the anxiety in there. You don't belong. There's other people who do belong there. You're lumped in with them. Every day has to be like serving 5 days. If you think about it, you don't deserve it. At least if you deserve it, it's like, well, I'll do my time, whatever. But come on, let's see if this can. Have you seen that?
I'm seeing it. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm playing a video. Can you hear that?
Good. Yes, I can see. I cannot hear the video.
All right. Well, at least I can see it.
What a bittersweet day that would have been for him, and
Yeah,
I think I lost it again.
I mean, these people are wailing like they lost someone. That, you know, he was dead. He was essentially dead.
Yes. I mean, a bittersweet. Like, thankfully I'm out, but I've just lost 30 years of my life.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine.
30 years is so long. It's most of our lives, if you think about it. What, 47? I was 17 years old to now, not participating in life, not watching things happen, not voting, you're just dead. Nobody wants to hear from you. Nobody cares, and they think you're a scumbag.
I mean, think about it. When he went in, I mean, internet was barely a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or if you know, when did he get out? But yeah, I mean, when he went in, the internet wasn't a thing, you know. I mean, it was, but it wasn't. It wasn't mainstream, you know. Cell phones at the time were bricks. Yeah.
Yeah, Zach Morris.
Cell phones at the time were bricks and crazy. I mean, just because now it's, you know, so much has changed that it would be hard to acclimate. I mean, I know the prison system has people get to be on iPods and video call and whatever, but still it has to be completely different for him.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll tell you why. Look at the grace that this man has. He still has this grace. He goes, quote, "I want to say to the victims, I would continue to pray for you just as I have for 30 years as a miscarriage of justice, just not for me, but for the victims." Hinton told the reporters, which is incredibly classy, because that's one thing we're not talking about, is the closure was taken away from the victims also, right? So they don't know, right? So they don't know what's going on. All they know is that this is going to be a wound that's uncovered again. That's a very horrible part of this. But he goes on to say, quote, "Everyone who played a part in sending me to death row, you will answer to God." And that's probably the most classy thing you can say without saying, everybody suck your own farts. Like, I hate you. Other than that, I mean, that's the classiest thing you can say. His attorney, Brian Stevenson, said a combination of racial biases against Hinton, who was black, and the impoverished background that he worked against, completely worked against him and getting his conviction overturned sooner, because it's no one's interest. No one's interested in exonerating a black guy who would just take the fall for people who, really need the justice. Which run that through your mind again.
Right.
It's ridiculous. So I said, let's end it up. It's a very happy day. Yeah, it's a tragic day too, because Mr. Hinton spent 30 years locked up in a 5x8 cell, but he's an extraordinary human being. 5x8, a 5 foot by 8 foot cell for 30 years, basically half a dorm room and hard metal. I mean, imagine his back hitting a Sealy Posturepedic.
Right.
He's gonna sleep like a baby. He's gonna sleep like a baby, or he's gonna have to sleep on the floor.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
Or yeah, it really is. I mean, coming out of that, it's the little things in life. You know what I mean? You look up at the sky and think, holy shit, now I get to see this as a free man.
Right.
You bed, food. Could you imagine?
You
I mean, you've had prison food for this long. You're
in the can for 30 years. What are you eating when you get out?
Well, 30 years ago, I suppose, we weren't as adventurous in our food things. For me, it would be like, I'd want to get something like pho or like that, but probably a big fat steak, being from the Midwest is what I would eat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cheeseburger, fries, something that isn't gruel from the prison system. So
I don't know. Like two of the fattest burgers you can do. In between, like three layers of cheese, 4 bacon strips. Let's do a mayo, a little A1, right? And grilled onions. I'll take the large
absolutely.
fries. Make them Cajun, and I want to sit close to the Coke machine. The Coke machine is right there, and I want to be close to it.
Right. I want to refill it all the time.
The fancy computer one, yeah. And
yes,
I'm gonna drink all the shit. So
yeah.
Think about what you would eat, ladies and gentlemen. What would you eat if you were on death row for 30 years and you get out? What's the first thing? Like, it's a reverse last meal. What's your reverse last meal?
Right.
Call it a first meal.
I mean, could you imagine eating, prison food for that long? And I mean, we've all seen the TikToks, the reels or whatever of, people coming, they make the prison burritos out of ramen and shit. I just saw somebody
they made this guy was like, hey, Bunky, you want to that guy, right? Hey, Bunky, I was thinking about making some gushers. I was like, gushers?
Right.
They start off with creamer.
Okay.
Everything starts off with powder creamer. Everything. Powder creamer.
Right.
And then some hot water, and then you press it down into like a paste, and then you get some Jolly Ranchers and you bash the shit out of them, and then you get some grape jelly. You take that dough you made with the creamer, and then you put a dollop of grape jelly in it, and you close it up like a wonton purse, and then you roll it into the Jolly Rancher, and when you do it, it's like a gusher.
Nice.
But
I kind of want to try it now.
Me too. And it's the first thing that I saw in there that's actually something I want to try. Other than, I mean, everything else is like ramen with hot water and then Cheetos and hot fucking Takis, like you said.
And or Spam or something,
I love Spam, but like in that capacity, I don't know.
Well, I mean, you got to do what you got to do, right? I mean,
you don't got to do that. I mean, I guess you can.
Well,
you gotta do that.
when you're deprived of the things that you want from the outside, I mean, they're very innovative in the way that they create things. So
amazing. I'm like, no way.
Yes.
They cut things. When they want to cut things, they get a card. When they want to it's nuts. It's nuts. I should find one of those videos while we're doing it. So
yes.
Do you want to take over the next part?
So yeah, well now we'll talk about Kirk Bloodsworth. Kirk was the first U.S. Death row prisoner cleared by DNA evidence. So now we're talking DNA, the actual proof, scientific proof that exonerates someone. The Innocence Project says he was released in 1993 and later received a full pardon based on his innocence due to DNA.
Full pardon, my God. I'm sorry. So he was the first one to get a full pardon because of DNA on death row.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yes.
And then my bad, bro. Dude. This guy's name is literally Kirk Bloodsworth. So
Bloodsworth.
Being typecast on that, like it's like, oh, he did it. His name is Bloodsworth. You know? No.
Well, absolutely. If I'm sitting and I hear your last name Bloodsworth, I'm like, he's fucking guilty. You know,
it just makes no sense. Okay.
It doesn't, but
what if my name was Adrian Kill Kid? You know? Or Adrian Kid Killer.
But you know,
that's fucked up.
Especially back in the 90s. I don't know. No,
like,
but seriously.
Pitchforks. Yeah.
I mean, with a name like that, how couldn't he be a killer? Again, assumptions and things. So, yeah. So, with Bloodsworth, his case was important because DNA did change the entire conversation. Before DNA, many cases relied heavily on witnesses, police theory, and courtroom persuasion. DNA gave innocence a physical language. It proved what people had been saying. The system, people had been saying that the system could be dead wrong. So, I mean, with DNA did not make wrongful convictions real. It just made them harder.
Right.
So.
Yeah. You go on.
Yeah, I mean, it's now scientific proof weren't there, and now you can't deny all the one piece of evidence goes absolutely. So DNA only helps when evidence exists and is preserved. So many cases don't have DNA evidence. Many innocent people cannot prove their innocence scientifically. And that means that the system must be careful before conviction, not just apologetic after exoneration. So, AC, if DNA never existed, how? Go ahead.
No, I was going to say it costs money to. I was going to say all I was going to say is that I want to add it costs money to do these forensic things, and if it's not worth it to them, and it's in the bag, why would you do it? You know. Exactly.
And then but now, I mean, how often do we watch like a Forensic Files or the first 48 and they're waiting DNA to come back, or they have to get through watch all the things, if you've been convicted,
you have a very small window of time to exist in that until something happens. Yeah, absolutely.
You hear me? So now I think I cut out there for a minute.
But since then, you did. Yeah, I did pick it up.
Sorry. No, I was just going to say, if DNA never existed, how many innocent people would still be called guilty? So.
I mean, so we remember that the Halloween party that we covered. I mean,
right?
The guy touched a bag, and if he wouldn't have touched a bag, he wouldn't have shown up in a Michigan database, so nobody would ever see him. I asked to share the screen if that's possible.
Oh, sorry.
No worries. So Kirk Bloodsworth, I mean, tragic fucking name, right? Tragic fucking name. Poor guy was given the one name he should not have.
Yes.
Right. So let's go back to Kirk. Okay. So on June 28th, Kirk Bloodsworth was exonerated of the 1983 murder and sexual assault of 9-year-old girl in Rosedale, Maryland. Oh. Mr. Bloodsworth was the first person on death row to be exonerated by DNA testing in the United States, which is an incredible feat.
and you can always say that, right?
Yes.
So he served 8 years in Maryland. And here's the crime. The crime is on July 25th, 9-year-old Dawn Hamilton was abducted, sexually assaulted, and murdered in the woods near family friend's home in Rosedale, Maryland. A rock with human blood was found next to the child's head. Now, this investigation is probably going to be extremely egregious, so stay tuned. An autopsy revealed that the victim's skull was fractured. Sorry ahead of time, trigger warning. The medical examiner, Dr. Dennis Smith, concluded that the death was a homicide, resulting in a blunt force trauma to the head and strangulation. Sounds pretty straightforward so far.
Right.
Two boys, 10-year-old Christian Shipley and 7-year-old Jackie Poling, had been fishing at a pond in the woods on the morning of the murder. Christian told police that a man had come over and Jackie had shown him a turtle he had caught. Shortly thereafter, Dawn had stopped by and asked the two boys to help her look for her cousin Lisa. The boys had refused and resumed their fishing. The man, however, had agreed to help Dawn, and the two walked off together. Stranger danger. So immediately, we got stranger danger.
Absolutely.
Whoever this guy was. So Christian assisted the police in creating a composite sketch of the man. After the sketch was publicized, the police received a tip that the sketch resembled 23-year-old Kirk Bloodsworth. Police located him on August 8th, questioned him concerning his activities on the day of the murder. Detective Robert Capel could later testify that although Mr. Bloodsworth had, quote, had a hard time remembering his whereabouts, the young man asserted that he had never even been to the area near the murder scene. So now we're talking about, do you believe that,
Right.
I mean, like, no, you didn't. Why? Of course, you're 23. Who's going to say yes to that anyway? But at the same time, dude, check me, and there's no radio, there's no radio towers to ping. Ain't nobody, this is like, this is the time to be like, hey, you want a job? I like your face. But this is like director of sales, yo, for my company. Yeah, man, I like, put her there, like you'll figure it out. So everything was on a wing and a prayer, right? So Detective Capel took 2 photographs of Mr. Bloodsworth and included one in a photographic lineup that he showed Christian and Jackie. Christian identified Mr. Bloodsworth as the man who had walked off with the victim. Jackie was unable to make a positive identification. So only one of them said yes. Based on Christian's identification, Mr. Bloodsworth was arrested on August 9th, 1984. A live lineup was held on August 13th, 1984. Christian did not make an identification, but later disclosed that he had recognized the man from the 6th position. Mr. Bloodsworth as a man who had gone into the woods with Dawn, but was afraid to tell police. Jackie also viewed the lineup and identified someone other than. So now these people are. It's compromised. By the time somebody says it's him, and then at the same time he goes, it's him. That's it. Like they don't know, right? So Mr. Bloodsworth, I don't want to say this anymore. Mr. Bloodsworth, it's hard. Kirk was charged with first-degree murder, first-degree grapes, and first-degree sexual offense. The prosecution said it would seek the death penalty. Of course it would, because it's egregious. And if it's him, yeah, off with his head. But hold up. On March 4th, 1985, during the trials, it went to Baltimore County City Court. Christian identified Mr. Bloodsworth as the man who walked away with Dawn. Jackie wasn't able to do that. And then Donna Ferguson testified that she had seen the victim talking to a man near the woods at approximately 10:30 a.m. and the day of the crime. So she had identified Mr. Bloodsworth on a live lineup again and identified him in court. I just think he has, 1, a shitty name, 2, a fucking face that anybody, it's like a fucking generic ass face, especially when that guy was
like everybody has it. Yeah.
Yeah, dumbass face. You're a dumbass fucking face you haven't even gone into yet. James Keller testified that he had been driving down the Fontana Lane near the scene of the murder at approximately 6:30 a.m. when he saw a man standing by the side of the road. Mr. Keller identified Mr. Bloodsworth as the man. It's just fucking unlucky as shit. Detective Capel testified that he had asked Mr. Bloodsworth why he had been telling people in the Cambridge about Bloody Rock that only a few policemen knew about. According to the detective, Mr. Bloodsworth first denied his actions, but later stated that he didn't know why he had done so. At that point, he said, I didn't kill that child. Only somebody sick would hurt a child. Like he was very blunt about it.
Right.
And at that point, bring out the polygraph. Oh, that's inconvenient, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Rose Carson testified on August 1984 that Bloodsworth had come to Cambridge and asked if he could spend the night in her home. he had told her that he would go admit himself into the state hospital the next day. According to Miss Carson, Miss Bloodworth had said, "I've done something really terrible. I'm afraid that me and my wife won't get back together because of it." Ms. Carson also noted that Mr. Bloodsworth had mentioned being suspect in the grape and murder of a little girl. So this is getting weird. Okay, so several people are saying things that are not true, obviously. Why? And then how does that correlate, right? So Mr. Bloodsworth, who had been a champion discus thrower in the U.S. Marines, I mean, on top of it, he's in the Marines, he's a vet. He's a champion discus thrower. He's 23 years old, and you're going to just assume he's the worst person on earth. He had been working as an oysterman in Maryland. Everybody knows how important that is in Maryland. So had no prior criminal record. He testified and denied committing no crime. Having never been in the area the murder occurred, he asserted that he had never spoken to anyone. Now those are rocks. Those are rocks coming under your no. What's up, C? What's going on? Rock, can you hit the mute button?
Yep, I'm doing that. It's my dogs.
Thanks, doll. And sorry, I have a stuffy nose too. It's like when it rains, it pours everywhere. What's up, Kick? How are you? So we're talking about wrongfully accused people. So we're talking about Kirk Bloodsworth, who's the first person to get exonerated by DNA in the United States. So this guy was 23 years old. He was a discus thrower champion. He was a Marine. He had worked as an oysterman. He'd never been to the area. He's never had a prior. The guy is completely free of psychiatric problems. Rather, he clarified he had been talking about drug treatment. He denied committing the crime, having ever been in the area, but they kept almost enticing this guy, like putting bad words in his mouth, like words that sound really bad. The defense also presented testimony that a semi-retired shoe store owner who had contended that the shoe marks on the victim's body were 2 sizes too small to ever have been Kirk Bloodsworth. Say that 5 times fast. Say that 5 times fast. Kirk Bloodsworth. Right. So, oh shit. Well, there goes Kick because my fucking phone just died. All right. So, he asserted that he had never spoken about the Bloody Rock and he had never talked about drug treatment. So they presented testimony that the shoes that were found were 2 sizes too small. So that's something more on his side. In 1985, the jury convicted Mr. Bloodsworth, of course, of first-degree murder, grapes, and first-degree sexual assault. On March of 85, Judge J. William Hinkle sentenced Mr. Bloodsworth to death. In 86, the Court of Appeals of Maryland vacated the convictions and ordered a new trial. Imagine, the court themselves said, no, this is bullshit. The appeals courts ruled that prosecution had failed to disclose a report by a detective that pointed to another man in a viable suspect. In 87, and time marches on, Kirk went to trial and a second time and was again convicted. Could you imagine the horror? He was sentenced to life in prison. The conviction sentence was affirmed in 88. By this time, it's 4 years of hell. So let's get to the exoneration. The exoneration, in 1992, the prosecution agreed to submit biological evidence for the then emerging DNA technology. So in 1992, it was just happening. It was, and some people didn't even believe it anyway. So in 1993, he was the very first person to be exonerated and the first person to be let go from death row after 9 years. Maryland Governor William Donald Schaefer granted Mr. Bloodsworth full pardon based on innocence. 9 years later, in the spring of 2003, a Baltimore County forensic biologist who had been studying evidence of the case found additional DNA evidence that it had not been analyzed, and the investigators ordered DNA testing and ran the results through the FBI national database, which matched Kimberly Shea Ruffner, who has been convicted and sentenced to prison for a grape shortly after Mr. Bloodsworth. So imagine that person, Kimberly, I would imagine I'm going to say it's a guy, Kimberly Shea Ruffner had been convicted for the same thing, but that's the person they found, which is much more likely. Occam's razor, right? So the funny part is that while he was incarcerated, he had regularly delivered books to Mr. Ruffner. Kimberly is a guy. So the guy who's taking the rap for it, would deliver books to the guy who actually fucked his life over.
That's fucked up.
Mr. Ruffner was charged with the murder on September 5th, 2003. He pleaded guilty, and he got another life. He's probably serving 1 million life sentences. Look at this injustice. You ready? The state of Maryland paid Mr. Bloodsworth $300,000 in compensation for lost income in the years behind bars. $300,000. In 2021, he was awarded an additional $421,000 due to the Walter Lomax Act, a new state law that recalculated the economic losses suffered by wrongly convicted. Obviously, there's fucking inflation. In 2022, he was awarded an additional $83,000 for housing. So he's had to, on top of it, beg and fight for any money that he can get back. So so he got what, 721,000 plus 80,000. So he got like $800,000. And the Central Park Five split 5 ways, 41 million. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So
yeah,
it's crazy. So in 2004, they established the Kirk Bloodsworth post-conviction DNA testing grant program. So a program named after him to help, kind of defray the costs associated with all that. So because of him, it's a better day. Quote, if it happened to me, it could happen to anybody. No shit, Kirk. Fucking live your life, bro. Take your $800,000 and get blowjobs on a beach with cocaine.
Yeah, but he was exonerated in 93, right? And it took him until just recently to give him more money. I mean, that's kind of shitty.
So, okay, let's do it again. So the state of Maryland paid him in 2003 because they didn't convict Ruffner until 2003.
So, right, but 10 years after they said, nope, he didn't do it. This other person did. Right. And, then he gets a payout. Right. And then wasn't it until like 2020 something that he got an additional extra?
And how did he live? Right. So in 2005, so Maryland, $300,000. In 2021, he got an additional 421. And then just in 2022,
so think about that. Yeah. So 2003 to 2021 is nearly 20 more years after.
Fucked up.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He does have a book out if you guys want to check it out. It's called Witness to Innocence.
I kind of want to read it.
Yeah.
Maybe my next book club book.
And let me tell you about the Innocence Project, right? Because the Innocence Project is a thorn in these people's sides. The people who want to do like quick,
as it should be.
Absolutely. And these people, there's one guy I wanted to mention. I don't know if we can bring him up, but like we don't have time for this. But we can do a part 2 of this.
We can. I would like to. I apologize for all the inconveniences tonight.
It's all good. There's a guy. So I don't know if you saw Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan had a guy who got exonerated by the Innocence Project on. Joe Rogan and his lawyer.
I didn't see that episode.
The guy and his lawyer came on the show and they talked about the Innocence Project, talked about how he's innocent, right? 3 days after they did the podcast, he decapitated someone.
Oh my fucking God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Might be worth looking up right now.
I'd like to, maybe we just take an episode for that case specifically.
Yep.
Yeah.
We help free more than 250 innocent people from prison. Support our work. That's right. So if you want to donate or give monthly, I don't work for these people, but it's pretty cool. Innocence Projects, you got to donate. Apparently they're doing something special here. But these are lawyers that take time out of their lives to be able to, because they know there's injustice, right? So here on their website, if you want to check it out, there's coerced pleas, false confessions, eyewitness misidentifications, harmful surveillance, inadequate defense, all of these race problems, official misconduct, unrelated, unregulated, informed, like so many ways that people can convict you for life. There's just like 9 different ways right here, and I'm sure there's more. Yeah, it's crazy.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's go. Stop doing that.
All right. Do we want to move on to case 5 or?
Yeah.
Or
take care of it?
Yeah. Let's talk about it. No, we're good. I think it's not like the heavens haven't opened up in a minute, so let's try to get through this.
It's not angry at us.
So the case 5 here is Kalief Browder. Kalief was accused as a teenager of stealing a backpack and spent more than 3 years at Rikers Island without being convicted.
Wow.
Let that sink in. Without being convicted. The ACLU says he spent more than 1,100 days incarcerated. They consistently maintained his innocence or he consistently maintained his innocence, rejected plea deals, and endured hundreds of days in solitary confinement. Could you imagine that? You're innocent. You're innocent. You spend 1,100 days of your life incarcerated because you're not going to take that plea deal. You are going to you're going to maintain that innocence, but it also ends you up in solitary.
You would do that, right? You would.
I just couldn't imagine.
I can't do it. Like,
oh, absolutely. If I'm innocent, I am not pleading guilty.
It's my integrity. I can't do that. My integrity will not allow me to do that.
Absolutely. Yeah. One thing that I've always, and you know me, AC, and people listening know me enough. If something is not just or unfair, I'm going to fight, probably to the death for it. Beyond. And that's who I am. If I know that I did, if I have not done it, I am going to fight to prove my innocence.
If I did do it, bring it. I'm going to fight it, but whatever.
Yeah. If I will be the first one to say I was wrong. You know what I mean? What's up? Fuck it. I fucked that up. Yeah, you got me. Oh, hey, Mr. R. With this wrongfully accused without conviction, I mean, again, let's let that sink in. He was not wrongfully convicted. He was wrongfully accused. He was wrongfully trapped. Yeah. So that makes this case essential. The accusation itself became the punishment. And the process became his sentence. So sometimes the system doesn't need to convict you to destroy you. It only needs to hold you long enough. I mean, I just think this is insane.
Yeah, that's a hard one. So let me get to this part here. That is windows. And so Kalief's story is crazy because clearly we can see the culpable and fundamentally broken criminal system that we have, right? And it punishes people for being poor. And the subjects, individuals to inhumane treatment. Kalief was 16 years old when he got arrested in 2010. This is recent now. We're not going back to the 50s. This is 2010. There was all types of shit in 2010. You were, think about where you were. For allegedly stealing Kalief was 16 years old and when he was arrested for allegedly stealing a backpack. He was charged with robbery, grand larceny, and assault. Bail was set at $3,000. The family could not afford that amount. So Kalief didn't get to go home after he was charged. Instead, he was sent to an infamous Rikers Island, just like the Central Park 5, right? And which is horrible. And get there. Right. So Kalief's journey was ridiculous because he spent more than 1,000 days incarcerated, like Sam said. But eventually, prosecutors realized that he had no case, and they had to dismiss it. Why? Because by the time he left Rikers, this boy had been accused of stealing a backpack, spent over 800 days of solitary confinement, like Sam said. I gotta say it again because this is egregious. He was in solitary, like it's 1 hour a day out or half an hour, depends. You go around the yard like a dog and you go back inside for 23 hours. This is cruel and unusual punishment to me, right? To me, that is how.
Especially for someone who didn't do it.
And someone so young. This is your formative years. You're ruined. You're basically ruined. So on any given day, hundreds of thousands of Americans who haven't been convicted of a crime rot in jail simply because they are too poor to afford bail that they set way too high for people, out of their price range. So more than 3,000 jails in the United States hold more than 650,000 people on any given day. About 2/3 of them, 450,000 people, are held awaiting trial. Most of them are in jail because they cannot afford bail or bail against refused to post bond. So their wealth determines whether they're incarcerated or not. That is not right. That's not what should happen.
It is not. Right?
So pre-trial detention jails nearly 500,000 people at any given moment and fuels the over-incarceration that we see at all times by inducing plea deals and forcing people to lose their jobs and housing that thus perpetuates the poverty, right? So if you are taking people who can't afford things in the first place, disrupting their family, tearing them apart, they lose the jobs that they do have, this is how you perpetuate
so much more poverty, just like the crime bill back in the 90s. And the growth of jails in the U.S. is a major contributor because, believe it or not, guys, jails are privately owned, and there's a profit to be made. So
they're a for-profit business.
Right. You didn't know that.
They are definitely a for-profit business.
Wake the fuck up if you didn't know that. So
yeah.
The accusation itself became just like she said, the accusation itself became the punishment. The process became the sentence. And this case shows why innocent people sometimes plead guilty, right? Because if you're poor and stuck in jail, just take the deal, man. Like it just feels better. Even if it's easy for me to sit here and go, I have integrity constraint. I cannot tell a lie. I don't know if after 800 days in jail, I'd be like, I'll suck your dick. I'll just whatever the fuck you need me to do, get me out of this hole, right? So freedom becomes negotiable, innocence becomes expensive, and the system of punish people just refuses to confess. They can't bring themselves to say we're wrong because that would look horrible, especially in front of a black kid. You know what I'm saying? That would be just put them back forever.
Well, absolutely.
So I ask you this, and then you can take over here. So what would have to happen to you for a deal to be struck with you? What if you didn't do it, but you got to go home sooner, but you were labeled that you did it? And would you be able to live with that?
I don't think so. I don't think I would strike a deal. I think I would fight. I know it costs money. And not so much. I mean, you can have a public defender. Hopefully you have a good one. But if I know, you know what I mean? If I didn't do it, I'm not going to plea. It's just the way it is. You know, even if I have to sit there, I would take the chance though, because I live
with that mark on you.
Again, and I'm sure many people are like this. You know, if you're wrong, you know, if I'm wrong, I'm going to say I'm wrong. You know, I am the first one to probably go, yeah, I fucked that up. I did wrong. I was an asshole or whatever it may be. If
I murder someone, I think I'm going to stay quiet. I'll let you figure that out.
Well, I mean, if you catch me though, I'll admit it. You know what I mean? Yeah. That I feel like for me, if I did murder someone, and I would do everything in my power to hide it. However, if they catch me and they have, you know what I mean, I'm gonna go,
bravo, you caught me finally.
Yeah, good job. You know what I mean? However, if I don't do it, I'm gonna fight to the death for it. That's just who I am. That's just my moral compass.
But what we're not adding is the 800 days of solitary confinement and how you would feel after that. That's the real question.
Well, you're right. I don't know how I would feel. I can't, honestly, from never having to experience it, I couldn't tell you what I would do after that.
Right. It's a severe breakage of your mind.
And in a perfect world, if I didn't do it, I would think I would fight and not take a plea deal.
And some, you might
this kind of reminded me of Karen Reed when we talked about her, and she's not one of our case studies, but you and I have talked about her. When we initially saw the case at first, because in this, we're talking about it because initially kind of watched everything kind of play out like, yeah, she has resting bitch face, but we know she didn't do it. We can tell she didn't. And one thing she did,
we looked at the evidence,
but she had the means to herself. Yeah, we did. And she fought for herself.
She had a good lawyer.
Said, no, this wasn't me. And she was very, involved in it. You know what I mean? She was like, nope, it wasn't me. I'm not gonna plea, even though they pressured her into doing that. And when when they retried the case, you know, she was not found guilty. So, I mean, in that respect, I feel like I would be like that, but she had the means. So I can't tell you what it would be if I didn't have the means to put you know, get the best, one of the best lawyers, you know, do all the things. If I had to only rely on, you know, a public defender or whatever,
you just wouldn't make it. You would make.
Maybe I would make it past. Maybe I would break. Yeah.
Right. If you look around, you're like, nobody has my back. Nobody understands the story. Nobody cares to know. You know, it weighs on you. But yeah. Okay. So
it does.
All right. So we've talked about 5 different cases here that are egregious in all types of spectrums, and from the worst to the only person to be exonerated by DNA, to a person that spent 30 years, to a person that clearly didn't deserve it, like this child who went to Rikers Island, right? So let's bring the audience in, right? If you're watching live or if you're watching in the future, certainly we're going to revisit this topic a little bit more coherently, but I will ask you this. So this is where the episode kind of is going to mirror you guys, right? So true crime fans are not investigators, number one. Let's put that on the table, right?
No.
True crime fans are not investigators. You might think you are. You might think you have a grasp on it. We've talked about it. Bullshit. You don't have the means to do so, okay? We are the interpreters. Also, you know, we interpret it, but we're not qualified to take it to the psychological level, right? We can, I can roast them, right? I can, you know, I can roast the fucking cops and the whole thing, but I mean, at that point, you know, I'm not really doing anyone a service. It's after the fact, unless the what is it? The project needs like a gesture or something. I'll make fun of everybody. Mm-hmm. So that comes with responsibility. So it's a lot of responsibility to do so. We should not turn suspicion into entertainment too quickly. So that's our thing, right? We can't do shows right away because we don't have enough information, right? We can stay on top of things and read you the news like we do when we do headline shows, but we can't just make that assumption.
And with that, we can talk about our opinions, but we shouldn't say them as fact or end all be all, because that is part of the, you know, the responsibility of it all. You know, here's what I think, but I can't tell you first. You know, in what we do, you know, if we are talking about something that isn't wrapped up yet and hasn't gone to trial and doesn't have an ending, you know, we can't say for certain what the actual outcome will be. And I think
she'll say something like, "I hate his eyes," and I think he did it, but that's opinion, right?
Right. Yeah. Or here's what I think happened, but I don't know. You know, until I have more evidence, I couldn't tell you. You know, but here's where, you know, my gut's leading me. But that, I mean, I'm not going to use that to, you know, judge jury that we don't know all of it. Yeah.
We're not close to it enough, right? So, and that goes, and you kind of went into the next part, right? So every accused person is not automatically guilty; they're just accused. That's what that's a big disconnect that we have here. I mean, it's even asinine to say at this point it's innocent until proven guilty, which never happens anymore. Every victim still deserves justice, so due process has to happen. It doesn't matter. Jeffrey Dahmer got due justice. Everyone did. Manson. Everyone. So if those guys are getting it, absolutely everyone should get it, right? So, and then both things can be true. You can be an asshole, and you can be exonerated. That's, you know, or you can actually have done it and be a nice guy. That's where it lays, right? So, I mean, those are just like fall off the tree kind of observations. But Sam?
Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of times, you know, feel like by the way somebody looks or whatever, you know, they aren't, you know, are or aren't guilty. And I apologize for the fireworks. It is like, that, you know, I think as a society and as we do these podcasts, and there are plenty of true crime podcasts and internet sleuths, but I believe that we have to that it is innocent until proven guilty.
And it's attached to people, right? So,
and I think we forget that quite often. There's a lot of humanity that we forget. Keep going. I apologize.
No. That's your thing. I was just going to add, like, there's people attached to it, and like we've done we've had on our other podcast, we've had grieving mothers, we've had people who have committed crimes, people who have been on the other side of it, people who have just lost children. That's heavy shit. And we have to remember that those people are also on the other end. And as much as we think that the person didn't do it or did do it, that the closure, it depends on how they feel in the next rest of their life. Depends on what we're talking about right now. So we really have to be careful.
Absolutely. Yeah. You and I are very cognizant of that.
Yeah.
I think.
Especially after I had a grieving mother on, also. Yeah.
Have a really good way of. That was so hard. But you're right. I mean, being able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, and as
innocent people can look guilty. Guilty people can look calm. It's just what it is. You know what I mean? You're broken up, so we'll talk about the discussion points. You can read along. So what makes us believe someone's guilty? Just by the way they look, by the way they look back at the jury, by the way they look at the victims, mothers, like Karen Reed or Wade Wilson did. That makes them look guilty as shit. In that case, Wade Wilson was guilty. In Karen Reed's situation, she was not guilty, but she was still had the same resting bitch. You look back at people like, oh, damn, that bitch is fucking guilty. She's not. She can look guilty, but she may not be. Are police narratives too persuasive? That's a question that I won't even give color to. Are police narratives too persuasive? I'll ask the crowd. Does the media correct itself loudly enough after they get it wrong? Absolutely not. Once you're branded with that, the cry for how bad you were is always going to be worse and more, and it sticks harder. Oh my God, that person did it. They'll do it under the radar. Like the first thing they say is the 6 o'clock news. They'll be like, oh, by the way, we got something wrong. Blah, 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 blah. Sorry. And then they move on. Nobody heard it. Nobody gives a shit. You're already branded that person. So I think they have entirely way too much power to do so. And is an exoneration ever enough to give someone their life back? It needs to be coupled with a lot of money, in my opinion. It has to be coupled with a ton of money, because if not, what are you doing? And money is the only valuable thing that can possibly give your life back, because money gives you options. Money gives you, you want to go around the world, you want to see all the things you couldn't see fast. You don't have to wait to work for it. You don't have to save. Just go do your thing as fast as possible. Plus, you took their earning potential away, and I don't think that it has a place. The exoneration has to come with, I'm talking about a boatload of money. Like the, Central Park 5 split 5 ways, got 41 million. But then again, Hinton got a total of 800,000 for all his time. So it was really nothing. So let's clean this up and kind of, put a bow on it, because I really like to do another one of these shows with Sam in her studio. She's on location in Afghanistan. No, I'm kidding. So look, the wrongfully accused force us to confront something uncomfortable. The system is not only fail.
I'm sorry.
It lets